Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of my Megapark. Now, we're almost done. Just look at this park, it's absolutely massive. It took us many episodes to get here, but yeah, there's still some areas to fill up, and that's what I want to do in this episode. So yeah, I made this path here last time next to this big coaster. I just love watching it. It's great to watch it do well. I mean, look at this. this part. I think it's great where you can see them catch up to each other, and then just yeah, twist around each other here. So yeah, really love the coaster. I made the path next to it. To make the path, I removed the monorail, so that's something I'll need to fix. This area right next to this bridge, it also needs some some fixing, or well, it needs to be made a little bit more pretty than it is now. I want to have a little restaurant here, right here. I realized that we don't even have a wild mouse ride in the park, so that's also something I want to add. That's something that will fit here very well, I think. And then there's of course still this area in the base that also needs some, I think we can fit an extra ride or two here with some extra buildings. Anyway, lots of stuff to do. I'll start here in the base, and then I'll continue my way down to over here. Alright, I'm increasing the number of handymen in this area a bit, because there's quite a few nauseating rides. I mean, we have the Enterprise here, the motion simulators. Probably this is quite... Oh, okay, the 3D cinema is not that bad. The space rings are bad for sure. I call this one G-Force Training. This will be the dodgems are the crash... this should probably be called the Crash Land Training. So yeah, I've retroactively decided that this will be a training center of sorts for the Round Earth society. Anyway, these space rings, I built them in a little building here. Nothing special, just a nice little building in the same style as the other buildings here. And here I will make a building for the dodgems, again same style. Then after that I will add some greenery here. Add a few decorations, and I think then this area will be complete. Alright, I think this area is now pretty much completed. So yeah, we have lots of different rides here, mostly flat rides. I think the park in general was missing those, but yeah, I more than made up for it in this area. So yeah, dodge jumps, space rings, 3D cinema, motion simulators, enterprise, etc. And of course, it's all nicely topped off with this epic roller coaster. Okay, what I will do next is I will make a little restaurant here, and I'll probably give the guests a view of the roller coaster here in the back. And after that, I will start on a Wild Mouse coaster over here. Alright, it looks like I've made a big guest trap here. At least some of the guests are pointlessly running around here trying to get to the toilet. So what I will do to help them is for some of these tables, normally there's 4 seats around them, but for some of them I'll just make a path. Right now no edges are connected. I will just make a path here to the middle, and that should guide the guests towards where they have to be. Because when they land on one of these paths, they can only go towards the middle, and that should help them guide them towards here, or to the toilet. Alright, I named this little restaurant Bob's Burger. That's because the owner of the restaurant, who is named James, bought the restaurant from a guy named Bob, but he didn't change the name. Alright, I'm running a little bit low on staff slots. You can have 200 staff members in your park. I have 195 right now, so I can have 5 more. I think it will be nice to have some Round Earth Society members walking around here. Some guys in astronaut suits. I think that will be a nice addition to this area. So that's what I will use. Well, I think 3 of them should be enough here. But then I have 2 staff slots remaining. Alright, now that that's done, I think I can start on the Wild Mouse coaster here. Yeah, I'll just try and see if I can quickly whip out a nice layout. Alright, time to give the coaster a test. Now, one thing which is usually clever to do is, well, yeah, I made lots of block sections here. You'll want to use less than the maximum number of allowed cars if you don't want them to have to keep waiting for each other. And for this coaster here, I used the maximum number of cars that I could have, maximum number of trains, because here I wanted to wait for each other so I could synchronize them. But yeah, here it's a little bit different. Here you just want the throughput to be as high as possible, and you don't want the guests to have to wait in the middle of the ride. That would not make the ride very enjoyable. Alright, it's just a simple layout. So from the station, the cars go here into the chain lift. Then there's a little dip. After that, there's a big drop here to the side. Then there's the typical section with these 180-degree hairpin turns, like you see on most Wild Mouse coasters. And after that, there's a section with a little bit more of a twisty curved drop, and another little sharp dip here. And then after that is just a simple track back to the station. So yeah, it pretty much has everything a Wild Mouse coaster really needs. Now the coaster cars just need some flashy colors. And I will also do a little bit of decorating here under the ride. Okay, I have named the Wild Mouse Coast Rider and named it after the iconic ride at Knott's Berry Farm. No, not the Ghost Rider, but they actually also have a wild mouse called Ghost Rider. So yeah, I thought that was a cool name for this ride. Alright, I tried placing some mini golf station pieces here under these block breaks, but it looked like that actually caused them to stop the trains in place. I'm not really sure why that happens, but I'll just use some blocks instead to make these sections where the block breaks are. Alright, if you're wondering what this is just simply a little transfer track. It has a turntable here in the middle, so the track would be able to rotate, and any extra cars would be able to be guided here onto this track here to the side. So yeah, that's what this is. Alright, I think that's enough building for this episode. So just as a summary of what I did, I put these extra buildings here with these space rings and these dodgems. Also put a little diagonal building in between, but it's mostly obscured by the rockets anyway. I put all these little trees, some greenery in between here. And after that I rebuilt the monorail. I made a restaurant here, Bob's Burgers, and finally in the end I made this steel wild mouse here called Coast Rider. Okay, I think the only things left is to take a ride on the steel wild mouse. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.